Howdy, folks. Come on down to Simpson Family Jeeps. We're back. Tech Tuesday updates. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all those cool things so you can see all this awesomeness that is the Jeep life. It's been a little while. Winter is breaking. Our project list, our property has not slowed down. And we're starting outside because we've got Jeeps. It's starting to look a little summerish. Our spring is coming quickly. And so we've got a number of projects here that are leaving, some that are coming. And we're obviously going to start here. We'll swing over here. We've got Jeffrey's big half-ton pick-em-up truck Gladiator. Let's walk out there and see what he's got going on. So he's hooked up to the trailer. We've been running back and forth from our industrial sandblaster. We're carrying tubs back and forth, getting them blasted. He actually just recently put this, we like to call it the Conestoga wagon. He put the best top soft topper on it. I think it's pretty legit. I like the look of it. It's an interesting addition instead of a hard top, and it does reasonably fold back so that you can still use the bed. But anyways, he's got his big full-size pickup truck here running our trailer around, taking the tubs. This is Harley the Money Pit, and it is in for a complete frame and tub swap. So kind of classically what we do, we're going to disassemble this Jeep and rebuild it on a new frame and tub, which we have tub over here and frame inside at this point. As we pan across the north, we have the Angry Turtle. Angry Turtle was in, you would have seen that on the videos on this here YouTube channel. And once we've recovered it, we've done some electrical, we've addressed some of the suspension components that needed a little bit of love and massaging, and then we worked with American Iron Off-Road for their ball joint deletes. And so worked through the process with Josh a little bit on those to get them to work appropriately in that Rubicon 44 front. We have this really nice little Dub J over here. And it was in because it has been into a number of different shops for a miss in the engine. In fact, one of the businesses actually put a new remanufactured engine, a new to it remanufactured engine, into that Dub J, and it still had a miss. So after we addressed a whole bunch of sensors and catalytic converters, I am happy to announce that it is perfect. And it is ready to head back to its owner, fixed and ready to rock and roll. It was a challenge, but fortunately it's right, and it's good, and it's going to give that customer a lot of fun in a nice, luxurious Grand Cherokee fashion. I'm pretty jazzed up about it, really, because a Dub J is kind of iconic at this point. We have the Everyday TJ, which we'll be doing some video work on here soon. It too is getting a full tub and frame swap, and its tub just came back from sandblast as well just this past week. So I'm excited to move forward on that. We're actually log jammed on a number of our tub frame swap Jeeps because of problems that have arisen in the process, with either tubs needing further sandblasts, or this one actually had a computer die on it right as it came to us. So we've diagnosed that, made it run under its own power, but then it needed a body, really. So body is here, back from sandblast. It's going to go under the Everyday TJ, and what's really cool about that Jeep is it's just going to be a stock replacement, as if it was a new stock TJ. So we'll be doing that one here very soon. We have the two-door XJ, which is just super iconic for our XJ Cherokee folks. And also it is important to note that as this video is coming out, Jeep has announced that they are retiring the name Cherokee. So not only do we have the iconic nature of the two-door square body Cherokee, but a farewell to the namesake itself. we actually put one of our home-built 4.6 strokers in that Jeep, built by our machine shop here out of northeastern Ohio. And we went ahead and did a little bit of fine tuning. I'm really proud of our team on this one because we had a computer control issue where the fan wasn't being turned on by the ECM. And our guys went ahead, we used a fan limit switch from Dakota Digital, and it is wired in beautifully under basically the kick panel under the dash. And the guys did an absolutely great job putting that in there and making it look seamless. But then, and this is crazy, but the ECM goes over to a relay, and then the relay turns on the fan, and then basically there's a redundant system that tells the computer that the fan is in this system. Well, we went ahead and we went in line to, we basically cut the wire at the ECM, and then we fed in this add-on fan control switch. Well, what ended up happening, despite the fact that the ECM was not giving us an output signal, we had bypassed it, it actually knew that it was no longer part of the communication. It was a kind of a rudimentary CAN bus communication. So the piece that makes me really tickled is the team got together, and between, really good work between, Greg and Scott, we actually have a redundant relay. So now the computer comes out, it turns on, the fan limit switch turns on the relay, it turns on the fan appropriately, but we actually have a relay that comes back to the ECM that says, hey, I'm actually there. So despite the fact that ECM was not appropriately controlling the fan, the Jeep is very happy, no check engine lights, and the motor runs perfect. So happy to turn that one out after dose years. It was totally a COVID breakdown issue. There was no cores available for this particular Jeep. But here we are, we've done the work, and the Jeep is ready to go. Obviously Chuck doing Chuck things, nothing special there. Let's pan off to this side. And this is a good one of our Patreons, Dale. He is going to be doing the Bushwhacker flat fender flare install, but it was in for differential services. It just came out of paint and body shop. He had it in prior to coming to us, and now it's a little bit tuned up. It's a sweet little ride, little TJ Rubicon. Next to that, I'm really tickled by this guy. Just a cherry, daily driven 96 XJ. Just super cool. In for some service and maintenance. Scott's working with the owner on that one. Obviously we have Artie. Artie is in for some fine tuning. We've done a lot of finite minutia suspension geometry. So little tweaks and twists on that one. I'm going to show you something kind of interesting that we're doing as part of the diagnostic process. I'm going to have Davey squat down, the Savage here. Here we have the PSC RAM wired up underneath the axle. Not because we were having any issues with it, but because I wanted to eliminate any feedback that we might be having with it in the steering system. Basically, we wanted to check the trueness of the wheelbase and all of the control arm geometries. And what we ended up doing was we had really beautiful geometries under here, but we still had a left drift. And Kevin, the owner, really wanted to try and remediate that. So we actually went ahead and attempted to independently adjust the upper control arms, giving the passenger side a slightly lower caster number than the driver side, so as to keep it from trying to drift. Because ultimately, a vehicle will pull towards the lower caster as geometry on the Jeep itself. So there's Artie. If you come over here and you shoot my way, you'll see the red tub, and then you'll see the green tub. And that's kind of where we've recently had a whole bunch of TJ tubs, and we just kind of keep them revolving. The red one is the one for Harley the Money Pit, and the green one is just one that we'll be building, clean it up, 100% rust-free, ready to bolt on, and we'll be selling that to one of you lucky individuals who needs a new tub, just because it's kind of where we're at as a business. We're able to remediate these tubs pretty easily. We'll go inside, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So check out this cool stuff. This is a new product I'm pretty jazzed about. This is the Noco Genius 2D. And this is a direct mount battery tender and maintainer. So folks who have Optimas or some other battery setup where you are not running your Jeep frequently, this is a great little piece. It is meant to be installed under your hood. It will wire in to your battery terminals themselves. And then you've got 36 inches or so, 24 inches of standard 110 plug, and that you can kind of just have wrapped up in your engine bay or stick out your hood or your grill, so that if you are a person who only drives your Jeep, you know, a couple times a month, or if you put it away for the winter, this just stays hooked up underneath the hood and you just plug it in when it's not in use, keeps that Optima fully charged. And if you're a vintage Jeep and you have a clock running constantly, or you have a lot of electronics and you're monitoring the electronics of your new JLs or JTs, this is a great way to keep your battery nice and full. We're stocking these, and they're going to be a great little product here in our showroom. Hashtag not sponsored, but Noco is welcome to. And we do have our Optima stuff here too. We have our official Optima chargers and all this JKS goodness. Lots of good stuff going on. Here you'll see Serenity, the worst death wobble that I've ever encountered, right? And there's a couple videos out. What we have recently just done, we actually took the GoPro, which a lot of people have seen the GoPro footage shooting. It was on the cross member shooting forward. Well, we took the GoPro and we aimed it right at the steering gear and track bar, and you can really see a lot of motion in the ocean there. Savage says, you have to go watch the video, and we're just gonna like blank all that out, and I'm just gonna talk doing this apparently. So you're gonna have to watch the video and see what we say is the best fix for it. At this point, we're getting this Jeep ready to head home to its family and move on at this point. You know what, we might as well talk about this one. This is one that we built, I don't even know, 6-7 years ago. This one actually has its own internal designation at this point. We use it when we're talking about diagnosing. We call this the Baker effect because of this Jeep, when kind of a perfect storm of things come together and the customer drives like they stole it. That is what this Jeep was. It is actually getting ready to head down to the Carolinas now, and so it's in for a little bit of love and maintenance, getting it ready to rock and roll. The guys have gone over a number of safety issues with it, first level priorities. Jeffrey just welded up and did a little work on the spare tire bracket here, so nice project for him. And we were in getting that spare tire remounted. Forward, when we get back there, will be that iconic CJ7 that is part of the CJ7 buyers video. But before we get that, we'll go over here where our lead performance mechanic Greg is on the other side of this JT, which you can see the transmission and transfer case is.
I think before you get too far into that, you need to stop and show how much product we have right now.
So Jeffrey's got a good point, right? This is all bought, paid for, customer supply, or not customer supply. Customers have paid their deposits, and this is all customer product. How we say when a person does their consult with us and gets ready to do whatever build or mod that they're going to do with us, we take a deposit on your parts. Those parts are then brought in, inventoried, labeled, and either stored here or on a shelf back there. And that way we can ensure that to the best of our ability that your parts are here when we start on the Jeep itself. So in this pile we have everything from Rusty's to Yukon to Roadmaster to Rough Country to Iron Rock to JKS, KMC, beadlocks, the whole shoot and match, right? So a lot of good stuff, a lot of goodies right there in that pile. What Greg's been working on is this really sweet looking JT. This particular Jeep is really cool because it is getting a center force clutch upgrade. I am particularly proud of this process because we actually have been really impactful in the research and development with Centerforce. We did a couple of their early model clutches on their JL series. Now with the JL JT, this setup is going to get a new flywheel, pressure plate, clutch material, and slave cylinder. And so this is a full, complete kit for the JL JT at this point, and it makes a significant difference in both how the pedal feels and how the clutch functions. This is a pretty cool Jeep, and we're going to do a couple other little base modifications on it. The big thing that's kind of a thorn in our side with these kits, despite the fact that it is as complete as possible, the flywheel bolts are one-time use. So that means they're kind of like torque to yield. So ideally, you're actually putting pressure and stretching the threads on the initial installation. So you're not intended, the manufacturer never intended for those bolts to be reused in this application. So if your garage is reusing those bolts, shame on them, but we here don't. So right now we're waiting on those bolts to come in from the mothership, from the dealership level. We'll have the new bolts, put the flywheel on, and this clutch system will be going back into the Jeep, and it will be shifting nicely into the sunset. We'll head back here. I guess we're going to have to step over Jeffrey. Excuse me, sir. There's so much going on. It's so good. Those beautiful Toyo Open Country AT3s. God, are they gorgeous. We've got tires everywhere. We've got tires up at the machine up front. We've got our AT3s. We actually have a full stack of tires back here waiting for our customers. This is that iconic CJ7. It is in for a tire wheel upgrade. It will actually still have white wagon wheels, just new to it Jeep. A little fresh wagon wheel, a little wider. And then a nice 33 Goodyear DuraTrack. This one is going to be getting our signature suspension upgrade, which is a little bit of our in-house recipe developed largely by the mad scientist. And so it's going to have a really plush riding leaf spring suspension still, but I promise you it is the best leaf spring ride you will ever have on a CJ7, and that is unique to something we specifically do here. It's not a kit you can buy anywhere else, but it's something that we do, and our customers absolutely love it. That'll be happening here. This was also a Quadra-Track CJ7, and it will be getting one of the last part-time kits in the country. So we'll be converting new production, that is, obviously. I'm sure they're still sitting on somebody's shelf somewhere, but for actual production value, it's one of the last part-time kits. We were able to buy it, find it, and Scott will be installing it here very soon into this Jeep and making this Jeep reasonably two-wheel drive. Because if you're not familiar with what Quadra-Track was, it was the earliest version of all-wheel drive. So we'll be converting that one very soon. As we swing around over here, this is Harley the Money Pit, and the frame has been, it was a Southern frame already, but we went ahead and did preventative work to it. It'll be getting coated and painted up here very soon, seal it up for many, many years to come. We'll blow fluid film down the interior of the rail. It'll be obviously painted on the outside. Here are the new to it axles. It's actually getting an axle upgrade, both front and rear. And suspension, the stainless steel brake lines have all come in from Classic Tubing. All the parts are here, reasonably speaking, and it's time to start assembly. Pretty excited. Head over to the Vintage Restoration Services. We have the hashtag Not a Restoration that we all know and love. We are M38 that we started about a year ago at this point. That tub went out and got fully sandblasted, and we'll be coming in for a closer look here in a minute. But where I was talking about the tubs in the different versions of how we can remediate them, we send them out, and we have an industrial sandblaster. They're doing a great job for us. They sandblast the underside, and they additionally sandblast the inside of the tub, the flooring themselves. And this way we can see if there's any rust whatsoever. This one's not going to have it, but it allows us to put a nice heavy coating of direct to metal paint, seal up this surface really well. You can actually see behind it, this Jeep has already been sandblasted. It actually had a U-pull primer and then a Raptor bed liner sprayed on the underside and on the inside. That particular Jeep will actually be part of a YJ-CJ conversion. So we're going to be making a YJ look like a CJ. Really cool stuff there. And that has been Raptor lined on the bottom and on the inside. This will be getting direct to metal sealing paint, sealing it all off from the elements and making it last as long as possible. This is actually the everyday TJ tub. Like I said, tires for days, a couple different projects we're working on for customers. The M38 tub is actually in really good condition. It is so cool to see it at this level. We're fortunate, if you've been following along with our podcast that shoots every Monday, you'll know that the mad scientist, Doc Brown, has become a master of metalworking. And we're going to be taking this tub hopefully over to his shop where he'll have all of his tools that he's been accumulating the last couple years, and we'll be able to buzz through this Jeep. It's actually in pretty good condition for, you know, for 70 some years old. So got some body filler in it. Interesting stuff as you zoom in, kind of see this discoloration here. That's actually an old technique called brazing. So that would have been a repair that they probably made, honestly, 50, 60 years ago. Don't know why they would have done it, but, you know, that's actually what that is. That's what's left over after that's been sandblasted. You see a lot of pinholing in the floors. You can see a lot of other places where they've had some body filler put in. Scott will be working through the process to fill all that in, make it as appropriate to the application as possible. That means make it solid, put new metal in. But this isn't, you don't put a lot of body filler in here. These panels were wavy to begin with. They were not the type of body panels that we know of today. And so we'll be kind of holding on to that at this point. And we'll be going in. The priorities are to put good fresh metal in it, get the body filler out of it, get any of the rot that's happening in it, get it remediated, and get a really cool OD green paint on it. And then, of course, the hashtag not a restoration. You would have seen this on display at the Dayton Off-Road Expo. Did the full break-in of the engine, and there happened to be just a little bit of a shake to it. Now, most places probably would have been perfectly okay with what was going on, but unfortunately, that's just not us. So this particular part here is called a flywheel. And this flywheel is actually an aftermarket production piece. We bought that flywheel brand new. You can actually see our timing or torque marks on it, and it was previously installed on there. AMC motors of the V8 flavor are externally balanced. That means the flywheel itself provides a level of counterweight to the rotational balance of the engine itself. So they have to kind of be pretty well matched to each other, being the flywheel and the motor. And as this being a post-production or aftermarket piece, our confidence wasn't exactly there. So we reached out to one of our friends, Anything for a Jeep, in Ohio, and he is a purveyor of all things vintage, a super cool dude. So big shout out to Fred Modis for taking care of us. We got a original 360 manual transmission flywheel. That would have been something out of like a full-size truck, because that's not an option that we would have had in a CJ7. 360s just simply weren't offered in these vehicles. But he had one because he has a great selection of vintage Jeep parts. And he brought it up to us. We sent it out to our machine shop. It got resurfaced, and I believe it is currently installed in the Jeep, or at least it will be by the beginning of next week or so, probably by the time you're watching this video. So cool stuff. So much happening in-house here at SFJ. We appreciate all of your guys' support. We love when people tune in to the podcast. You can check those out over at the I Speak Jeep YouTube podcast channel. You can obviously find us on all your streaming platforms, or you can join us live on Facebook at 10:19 a.m. every Monday. And we thank you for all your support here on the SFJ 4x4 YouTube channel. Feel free to jump on our Facebook, our Instagram, reach out to us, grab some merch on the website, and follow along with all of these really awesome Jeep builds. Until then, Jeep on.